Hello, Sagittarius. It's Maggie the Irish Gypsy with your July 2025 general reading. We're looking at the first half of July for you, the fire sign of Sagittarius. Thanks so much for taking the time to tune in. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe and share if you feel so inclined. If this reading resonates with you and you would like to take a deeper look at something in your own personal life, or you simply like the reading style, if you're interested in a personal reading with me, for yourself or as a gift for someone else, they do make great gifts. Please email me for more information, Maggie1McGuire @gmail.com. You can click on the description below to see that as well. I'd love to hear from you, and I can usually get back to you within the same day or 24 hours. I cover all areas of life: love and romance, relationship compatibility, career, work, money, investment, 6 and 12-month overviews. There's a lot to choose from, a little something for everyone, and I'm pretty diligent about timely scheduling for personal readings. So if you're interested, email me. Okay, Sagittarius, let's see what's coming in for you for the first half of July 2025. Okay, we have the Eight of Swords. Swift, purposeful, focused action and movement. Some of you may be traveling. We have the Fool. Some of you may be making a big trip. The Fool is the 0 card. Why? Because the Fool is the very first card in the major arcana. The whole tarot is about the Fool's journey, we being the Fool, human beings, because we all have this shared humanity, right? So the Fool represents the start of a new cycle, a brand new chapter beginning. There might be some nervousness in it, risky, stepping out of your comfort zone, taking a chance, moving out into the unknown. A brand new cycle begins. Again, with the Eight of Wands, some of you may be taking a trip, maybe traveling. Maybe the first time you've traveled, or the first time you've taken a certain mode of travel, or the first time you've traveled internationally. Some of you are just starting off on some new venture. We have the Page of Swords, information, messages. It can be gathering information or watching people. I actually feel a conversation taking place for some of you with that card. Your crowning energy, your overall theme for the first half of July is the Three of Wands. So it looks like some of you have put some work into setting the stage for something, kind of pouring the foundation that you're going to build on later. You may be feeling very good about what you've done so far. You may be starting to see some of your efforts paying off, maybe taking a very temporary pause to kind of look out over the horizon and wait for that ship to come in, but feeling quite optimistic, positive, and hopeful about the future. This new beginning that's getting ready to start. Of course, time being somewhat fluid, never more so than in a general reading. Some of you, this may have already started. Some of you, you may be on the cusp of it. So let's peel it back a bit. Let's take a look at that Three of Wands as your crowning overall energy for the first half of July 2025, Sagittarius. Seven of Swords, Ace of Cups, Eight of Pentacles. So some of you may have been setting this stage or laying your plans, whatever choices or actions you've taken. You may have done it in secret, or at least held your cards pretty close to your chest. You may be trying to play mum over what's to come. Maybe you don't want people to know until it's absolutely necessary. The Seven of Swords is a card of strategy, secrecy. Sometimes it can be negative in terms of deception, theft. The only cautionary advice about the Seven of Swords is make sure that you're honorable, particularly with the Page of Swords, because the Page of Swords can sometimes represent speaking up in a situation, that's a moral or ethical dilemma. So just make sure that even if you're being strategic and keeping things to yourself, that you do consider consequences of how it affects other people, and just act as honorable as possible. So the other two cards clarifying the Three of Wands is the Eight of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. So something that you've put a fair amount of work into, and hoping to continue to grow up more, something that you are emotionally quite invested in and feel very emotionally positive about. Again, it feels like you set the stage for something, you're feeling good about it, and you're waiting, you're just waiting for that next step. Sometimes the Ace of Cups can represent new love and romance or emotional beginnings in an already existing relationship. So that may resonate for some of you in terms of what you're hoping to build for the future. Let's take a look at this Eight of Wands. We have the Fool again. I always clarify with a different deck because if repeating cards shows up, you know, Spirit's underscoring the importance of something. So you have the Fool twice. So a brand new beginning. You may not have a very clear idea of what's going to happen moving forward in the future, but you're stepping out into the unknown anyway. The King of Wands. It may be with that Eight of Pentacles, some of you may be exploring a different chapter or avenue in your work or career path. But again, it's something that you've been building up for. King of Wands, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. Likely you. For some of you, it might be another fellow fire sign that is significant, that King of Fire. And the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups with the Eight of Wands. So you're moving forward in a very purposeful way. The Eight of Cups represents leaving something behind, which has either run its course, it's turned out to be something different than perhaps what you thought it was going to be in the beginning. Can be a job, a career path, a relationship, a residence, an area. The next card after this, of course, would be the Nine of Cups, which is your heart's desire, your cups overflowing with abundance and getting what you want, right? A wish granted. So here in the preceding card, whatever you have been invested in, it's done. It's no longer serving your greater good, your higher purpose. So it's turning your back and walking away. Moving forward, the path looks very new, very exciting. There's an element of the unknown to it, whatever new path this is for you in this general reading. It feels like what you're leaving behind hasn't, some of you, it may be something that has just run its course. But others of you, there's a sense of disappointment, that you wish things would have been different, but they're not, and so you must move on. And that might be contributing to why there is this kind of air of secrecy or keeping things kind of close to your chest about this. Let's take a look at the Fool. We have the Star, the Page of Cups, and the Seven of Pentacles. Positive messages, positive conversations here. Like that Ace of Cups being at the beginning of a path where you feel emotionally open to the possibilities. Renewed, restored hope, faith, and optimism with the Star, which in the tarot chronologically comes after the Tower. The Tower represents significant change, but it can often be challenging because often it represents a final ending or breakdown of something that can be difficult to take. So it doesn't have to, but it often does, because it's about destroying something so that we can move forward on a better path and build something solid, stable, right? So the Star comes afterwards, after the smoke kind of clears, to renew, restore, rebuild, hope, faith, and optimism. It does kind of imply that some of you are moving forward on a new path, after a period of challenge, of perhaps even hopelessness or despair, and not knowing, if there was still positivity in the, in the life or path in front of you, which there is. The Seven of Pentacles. Again, the Seven of Pentacles is looking at the efforts you've put into something and asking yourself, how do I feel about what I have so far? Can I make it better? Can I grow it bigger? What do I do? It's a card about taking assessment. It really does feel like after something perhaps quite challenging, difficult, or even painful has happened, you've kind of taken a step back, taken some stock, taken some inventory, and now you have made the decision to move forward into something new. Taking what you can from the previous situation, which could be physical, mental, emotional, to move forward. Looking at the resources you have and factoring those into your future plans. Let's take a look at this Page of Swords. Five of Swords, Six of Cups, Ten of Swords. Yeah, something did not work out well for you in the past. And you're cutting it free. For some of you, it may be that you are in the process of freeing yourself from some kind of painful thing associated with a person, place, situation you have history with. This can be anything from cutting out actual people to realizing that you have to let go of certain idea patterns, certain behaviors, certain ideologies that came from disappointment or pain in the past, because if you try to move forward with those things, those same defense mechanisms, it has a way of keeping you kind of chained to that past because you're always acting in a defensive sort of way, right? So it can be that for some of you. Others of you, it may be that you're having a conversation with the person or people or whatever it is that you're leaving behind, because it hasn't worked out, and you've come to the challenging and perhaps painful realization that it just isn't. And so it's time to move on. The only thing I would caution you about here with the Page of Swords and the Five of Swords is if what you're leaving behind is a person, a job, a relationship, something that in which you feel you have been betrayed or let down, you can still leave that situation in an honorable and moral and ethical way. The caution here is be careful how you move forward on your path. It may be that you want to, especially if it's a situation or a person that has hurt you, you may want to leave, take a few jabs before you leave. This is about kind of watching your words and watching your actions, because even if the other person or the other side has been horrible to you or caused you pain or betrayed you, stabbed you in the back, all those emotions that can go along with the Ten of Swords, they are ultimately accountable and will at some point be held accountable. Karma has a way of coming back, for their actions, but you will too. So even if we're leaving a terrible situation or person, for us, we are still accountable for our actions. So there is a moral, honorable, ethical way of doing that, right? So that's the only thing I would caution you about here, Sagittarius. Overall, a very bright, hopeful, positive reading. Okay, any final messages, guidance, and advice for Sagittarius first half of July 2025. Nine of Cups. Go after your dreams. Go after your wishes, your heart's desire. the Nine of Pentacles, because remember who you are. You've worked really hard. This is the Nine of Pentacles is a card of somebody who, this is the energy of somebody who has worked really, really, really hard to get to where they're at. And now they're enjoying the fruits of their labors. They're not dependent on anybody else. If they want something or someone, they'll take their time. They'll be picky because they're not acting out of a sense of desperation. And so with this comes a sense of self-confidence and empowerment. Remember who you are. Don't stay chained to people, places, or situations which no longer serve your greater purpose out of a sense of guilt or, obligation. It's time to move forward here. Six of Swords. Yep. Transitioning into a better place. You're not quite there yet, right? That Three of Wands is your crowning energy, tells us there too. It's a minor card, but you're feeling good about the plans that you've laid and where things are headed in the future. So you've left the worst behind you and you're headed you're in more peaceful waters now. Not quite onto the other shore yet, but you're definitely headed in the right direction. And there's a lot of cards here too, Sagittarius, that imply physical movement as well. So some of you, this might be actual travel or moving. Four of Cups and Knight of Wands. Sooner rather than later, right? The Four of Cups. Don't turn down, if there's a chance that, because the unknown is perhaps a bit scary or nerve-wracking for you, don't turn down this new opportunity simply because the familiar feels safer, right? Because the Four of Cups is the energy of somebody who is perhaps in a situation where it's not their ideal. It's only 3 cups, right? Not 10. But they're still getting something out of it, and it's comfortable and familiar, even though it's not their ideal. And so this card can represent a sense of apathy or fear in looking at this new opportunity. That is strongly implied it's coming from spirit here, but not reaching out to take it. It can represent ingratitude or apathy or fear of the unknown, kind of like the person who is unhappy with a certain situation in their life, but if an opportunity comes along or, there's a path they could take to get out of it, but it's so new and so unfamiliar and scary that they tell themselves all kinds of things so that they don't have to face that fear and walk through it, and they keep themselves stuck in the familiar. So be careful that you don't do that. All right, Sagittarius, those are your messages for the first half of July 2025. And for those of you for whom they hit home and resonated, I hope it was helpful and hopeful and brought a little bit of clarity to you. If it did, again, and you'd like to pull the curtain back on it and take a deeper look and explore something in your own personal life or situation, or you like the reading style, email me for more information for a reading for yourself or as a gift for someone else. Maggie, the number 1 McGuire at gmail.com. You can click on the description below to see that contact information as well. I'd be delighted to hear from you. I'll see you all in a little while. Be safe, be well, be blessed. And I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.